If you've never heard this piece before, you've been missing out on something very special. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be watching and talking about one of my most favorite pieces to perform and to listen to, and it's just one of my all-time favorites, and that's Black Earth or Kara Toprak by the Turkish composer Fazıl Say. I have so much to tell you about the composer, about the piece, but without further ado, let's start watching a little bit and then I just talk you through it while we're watching. So before we go further, I mean, obviously you've noticed that there's something going on here that is not that normal for piano playing. I know a lot of contemporary composers have explored more techniques or different capabilities of piano beyond just playing on the keys, and this is one of them. I've played this piece so many times. I have won a competition actually by playing this piece in the contemporary category 2 times, so 2 different competitions, and I really love this piece. I played it again in my most recent recital and a recital I had like a couple years back. About the history of this piece before diving into the music a little bit more. So this piece is called Kara Toprak, or in Turkish, which means Black Earth. It's based on a poem by one of the most famous Turkish lyricists, Asik Veysel. I can read a little bit of the translation of that poem or the lyrics that this is based on. But before that, the song or the piece is like divided into a couple sections. They're all attached to each other, so there's no pause. But obviously there is a section that is more like a different technique on piano. So what he's doing here, I mean, you can definitely tell, but he is muting the strings with his left hand while playing the melody here, or whatever it's he's playing here. So the melody he's playing, this is not the nicest piano here, but this was the biggest room at school that I can find. So this is not a Steinway, but it still works. So we want to hear the melody, but not actually on the keys. We want to change the timbre, the color. So that's why this is one of the techniques that is actually very common in contemporary piano or contemporary music in general to use. And the reason he is doing it here is he is trying to imitate one of the Turkish traditional instruments called bağlama. And then I can put a little video here, but it's basically a string instrument that you pluck with your fingers. So that's kind of like has that feeling, and it should feel very improvisatory. It's like you just make it up as you go. So one of the things that when you're performing it, it should not feel like, oh, I'm playing from the music, I'm like doing something that I've practiced 1,000 times before. It should feel that you're making it up. It should feel like free and very, very like spoken and poetic. Let's listen a little bit more. I try not to pause it too many times, but I have so much to tell you. I'm so excited about this video. That's why I try to pause as little as possible. So let's go more. And the fact that when I play, it's kind of hard for me to just move my hand when I'm plucking the strings. But I like that he does, like he moves his hand while he's playing. So that's kind of add a little bit of a color differentiation when you're playing, and also maybe a little of the vibration. I find it hard to do once I'm playing, especially when I'm so focused at a recital or a performance. But I don't know why how he does it, because if I'm pressing too hard to plug, maybe I should not press that hard. It's hard for me to move, but I like that approach to kind of like play with the color. So this is kind of the end of the improvisatory, like kind of this technique section, and then after that it changes to like a more lyrical section. But before that, I wanna kind of take a look at the poem that, or the lyrics that is based on. Ashik Veysel, I'm gonna read a little about him because I don't want to miss anything. But he was born in 1904 in Turkey, and he lost his eyesight, so he was blind due to a smallpox as a child. He was one of the Turkey's most beloved folk poets and musicians, and he was a master of, I think, storytelling through his songs. The theme of his songs is often life, death, like the journey of life, love, things like that. Um, and he was like, he's known for being very simple but incredibly deep lyrics. And he always performed with like the balama that I told you about. Um, and this song, it's kind of like, at least to me, I don't know how Fazil Say interprets it, but to me, it's again like a journey to some one person's life. You're born, and then you grow up, you have your youth moment, you fall in love, and then at the end you kind of, because this section kind of comes back, and then you kind of like, that represents death, and that's how you go back to the earth, which is a very common part of the culture or part of the belief in like the entire Middle East, but also specifically Turkey. So you are back to the earth, and that's why it's called Black Earth. The lyric says, I came from the earth, and to the earth I return. Everything I have comes from the black earth. My life, my joy, my sorrow, my being. In the end, I find peace in the black earth. It's so emotional. I just have no comments about it. And yeah, I've been talking too much. So let's listen to the lyrical part a little bit. This is one of my favorite parts of it. And then here comes the fun part. But before that, so this section is marked Largo Doloroso, which means slow and kind of painful. Um, as opposed to the first part that was kind like, it was called lento or marked lento and quasi improvisatory, like a little bit improvisatory. The fun thing is, every time that he performs, I can hear a little bit of a difference, and especially the first section, so kind of like that truly embraces the kind of the nature of being improvisatory, especially in the first section. This part is just, it's amazing. The only challenging, not the challenging part, but like the part that it took me some time to kind of like get used to, is the fact that these are kind of 7 notes here in the left hand, but it's a very simple chord but so beautiful over that melody. And if you see that there is so many marks of like accelerando and ritardando, which means like speeding up and slowing down through the piece, which I really appreciate because it's very precise for a performer who doesn't know the piece. We don't want to stick to like one tempo, but I feel like it's also like you have to be very subtle with those. You don't want to like push it too much, because then every phrase it kind of starts feeling the same. So it kind of like you just have to feel that you are singing to a person. It's very free and very like on the spot, that you're just making it up. And then here it kind of ends very dramatically, and we're about to get to the section. It's called Allegro Assai and Dramatico, so it's going to be very dramatic. So this is, and then here getting to this chord, it kind of the fast part, the faster part of the piece starts, and it blends a lot of Turkish elements that we kind of talked about, and but it also like blends a lot of like classical, like traditional composition, and a little bit of a jazz. I want you to hear that as well. And then it goes for like about 2-3 pages, and then it kind of goes back to the first section. So let's hear this part. So that's kind of the fun part in the middle. He takes it way faster than I take. I'm not that brave to take it that fast. But it's like the main theme that is, I haven't played this in a few months, so I'll try my best. So this is kind of the main theme that it starts from. And then it kind of repeats, and this is the fun part. This is kind of like jazzy, and always have problem with like sticking to the tempo here. I think I'm always rushing it. And then the last page, it just gets to the climax, in my opinion. So it's kind of a lot of the bass, sorry, and the bass kind of like starts like a chromatic pattern here, and then it's a lot of like fortissimos, like very loud parts, but still it should be singing, so it should not like feel like, it should have still the melody line. And this is the part that is kind of like, I feel like, I don't know, long, and then then it kind of gets into a sequence, and it goes back to the main theme again, which we heard, but this time piano. Still, it should be very, very like voiced, very clearly heard, but like the character is quite different. So it's, and then it kind of gets us to like super super piano or very soft, and it takes us back to the part that the lyrical part, but again quite different. It's a different register, and also it's different dynamics. It's, and then it kind of like adds things to it, so it's not the exact same. It goes for a little bit, and then at the last, very last page, it takes us to the very beginning, kind of with the muting and the repetition, or like the balama sounds. That is, I don't know. That's, I think, one of my top three favorite pieces to perform. I always have so much fun, but also I feel like I am very connected to the music and to the audience whenever I'm on stage performing this piece. I feel like, I don't know, as a Middle Eastern person, I'm not necessarily Turkish, but um, I feel like I connect, and I can feel like the story behind it, but I don't think it's necessarily you have to be from that region to be able to completely like understand it and enjoy it. I feel like it's very universal, and you can still like feel like it, but feel what it's saying basically. So as the final notes, this piece, I just want to mention that is composed in 1997, and Fazıl Say gained a lot of recognition internationally by this piece. He performs it regularly. Like, I think he's touring right now, and when I was looking at the programs, he almost in every concert he plays this. But he is also a very virtuoso, very recognized pianist. He plays a lot of like traditional or traditional like standard repertoire, classical repertoire, and he's also amazing. He's very, very creative in his interpretation. And if you've never heard any of his compositions, I highly encourage you, and I highly recommend it. He has other piano pieces. He has a violin and piano sonata that is amazing. I think he has two now, and he has a four-hand piano version called Night, and that's like my next project to really, I just have to find a pianist that is also willing to play that, and I would really love to play that. It's also amazing. I feel like if you're not a musician or you're not into classical music that much, you would still enjoy that and you would basically love it, and you can connect. So thank you guys for watching. It was a very exciting video for me to record, and I was very excited to talk about this. As I said, it's one of my like highest in the list. And let me know if you know Fazıl Say, if you've heard any other pieces, what's your favorite piece of him, or if you don't know him, did you like this piece? And please like and subscribe to my channel. It would mean a lot to me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.